I have this thought sometimes where I'm like, how much easier would life and business be if everyone could just be a little bit more like me? Have you ever had this thought where you will have an encounter with someone and then you will walk away being like, why did they do that? Why did they say that? This is what I would do if I was them. This is interesting. And it's something where quite often, a lot of the time, I've had to check myself when I am being annoyed at a person or a situation. And the reason that I am annoyed is I'm not really annoyed at them. I'm actually annoyed at the fact that I would do something completely different and they are just not doing what I would do. For example, have you ever had a discovery call with someone and then they ghost you and you follow them up and you're thinking about, you've got like all of this like little energetic space around this thing. It's like, oh my gosh, can they just like, I'd rather like them just tell me that they're not interested or, say that it's too expensive or whatever's coming up or just be like, yeah, no, thank you. So I can just close the loop and just forget about them. But I've worked out that a lot of people just sometimes aren't like that. And I remember having a discovery call with this woman and it went a bit over and I gave her options. And I actually think the discovery call, she wanted some free coaching. I don't really think she wanted to work with me. She kind of just wanted a bit of a sounding board on what I would do in her situation. And then what ended up happening is she never got back to me. And I followed her up repeatedly. She saw the emails, she saw the Instagram messages, and she just didn't get back to me. And what was actually pissing me off the whole time, it's so interesting that I think sometimes when you get enough space between like what has happened and then you have time to reflect, it's so interesting what comes up. And I found myself feeling annoyed, not at what was happening, but annoyed that I would have done something completely differently and that she wasn't doing it. Have you ever felt like this before? I remember hearing a podcast episode by my unofficial mentor, Brooke Castillo, and she was talking about something called the manual and how in life and in business, we can't have a manual for how we expect others to respond or what they would do in this situation. Because what ends up happening is we end up disappointing ourselves. And when I can look back at situations where I feel like that there's like a lot of emotions present, whether it's sad, whether it's angry, whether it's stressed, quite often this is actually brought on because of how I am looking at the situation and visualizing myself in the situation and then thinking about what I would do in the situation and then being like, oh, well, that's really not happening. This is stressing me out. Why can't they do this? Why can't they say that? Why can't we close this loop? And the reason that that is not happening is because they are not me. And I have to check myself so many times about this. That's, I think, the fun thing about like business. It is the greatest personal development exercise that you will do because you are continually confronted with everything, right? It's like if you want to grow as a person, start a business. And it's interesting when I had a situation where this happened again this weekend, which was like, let me record a podcast episode on it, where I was waiting to hear back from someone. And in the process of this, I was stressing myself out because I was telling myself multiple different stories about what was happening and why can't they just do this? And again, I was like, oh, let's pause for a second. The reason that they're not just doing that is because that's what you would do, but they're not you. Have you felt like that before? And maybe you've just had your own little light bulb moment because potentially, like everything, there could be a little like a little situation that's happening in your business right now. And there is something like a little niggle or a little frustration that's happening. And potentially why you are feeling frustrated is because you're looking at the situation and you're thinking about the fact that you would do something completely different. Of course you would, because you're amazing, you're incredible. But here's what I want you to remember. Quite often, the thing that is frustrating you is why they're actually hiring you. It is why they are looking at your product. It's why they are wanting your service. So an example of this would be for business consulting and entrepreneurial mentorship. Something that I am huge on when I mentor clients is that they have to be able to cultivate self-leadership, self-trust, and self-discipline. This is something I work on with every single client. Even if they think that they have this developed, there is a chance that there are things that they overlook. And it's interesting that I'm like, well, if someone doesn't have self-trust and they don't have self-discipline and they can't make a decision, then they're probably not going to make a decision about working with me. And that's what's frustrating me. I'm like, just decide. But that's why they're hiring me, to help them do all of these things. If they don't know if this is a good business decision, of course they don't know if it's a good business decision. If they look at my prices and they're like, this feels like a lot, but if they don't currently have the capacity to spend that, or this feels like a huge outlay, of course they don't know that, because that's why they're hiring me. And I want you to think about why people work with you. And I want you to get clear on, is the reason that you are feeling frustrated what they actually would get out of working with you? This is exactly why clients come to you as well. And what I want to say is, you don't want people to be exactly like you. Because if your customers and the people that were going to work with you are exactly like you, guess what? They wouldn't hire you, because why would they hire themselves? Why would they hire someone that is identical to them? They would probably want to talk about their problems, but they wouldn't want to pay you, because they're like, well, why would I work with this person when their situation, when their life, everything they say is identical to me? So let's reflect on that for a second, is that the more different you are to your clients, the higher likelihood it is that they are going to pay you. And what you can then reframe is, when these little things happen that are sometimes annoying, is it's like, how good is it then that this is happening? And it is telling me that, awesome, I'm actually attracting the people that I want to work with. And if this repeatedly happens, then guess what, baby girl? You get to make a decision. It's like, do I want to work with these people? Do I want them to be a bit more established? Do I want them to be a bit more self-aware? Okay, cool. That's coming up. Go change your messaging. Go look at like what is actually happening within your world that's bringing them in. All right. So you can do that as well. But let's just ponder for a minute that you are the antidote to the problem that you are annoyed by. So what annoys you with people? You solve this. It's funny when you have this realization, like when I had this realization myself, I had to kind of just take like 10 minutes to sit there and just reflect back. Then I'm like, wow, isn't this so funny that what I'm actually annoyed by in some people is what is why they are coming to me, okay? Because if they can't make a decision, if they don't know if this is a good investment, if they're like, I don't know if I have the self-trust, oh, I don't know about this, and I'm hearing their internal process, and I'm like, this is really easy, just do this, do this, do this. And I'm like, of course they're coming to you with this. And of course you're like, this is simple, because that is what people pay you for. How cool is that? And this is where for you, it may even be that you realize things about yourself and how you actually impact your clients that you didn't even think about before. It's so interesting that now within my own messaging and marketing and what I'm putting out there, I do call myself a business consultant and a business advisor. But I think so much of what I do is that entrepreneurial mentorship, because it is really around like the mindset piece to business, how you move, how you make decisions, and all of the characteristics that you need to have to be successful. And the thing is, it's like, if clients don't have that, that's why they're coming to me. But if they don't have that, it's like sometimes this is where the sales process can feel a bit clunky, or I can start to get annoyed by things. And when you have this awareness, this is incredible, because it gives you the ability to then just stop, take a step back, take a breath, and actually really assess the situation for what it is. And when you look at it like that, it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. You can see this as, oh, how awesome is it that I have a client that clearly needs me? This is why they need to work with me, because I have these skills that they like currently don't have, or they don't have access to, or they need awareness in this situation. They need a bit more discipline, or they need this. And this could be something where it's like, you could have a client and you sell websites and you sell branding packages. And you may be like, well, how does this apply to me? Maybe if they're talking about the price and the investment and they're like, this just feels like so much to spend, it's because they haven't actually experienced the result of what it is that you offer. They don't understand how good a website, like how an incredible website or branding package can actually elevate what they're doing. They don't know. And because of that, they're like, oh my gosh, this is really expensive. Yeah, because they haven't experienced what you would actually do for them. So while you're sitting there getting annoyed, being like, oh my God, they don't know how good it is. Of course they don't. That's why they've come to you. So what we really need to do in this situation is take even a bigger step back and really stop making things personal. Yeah, I know. It's really hard, isn't it? It's hard, I think, that when you are a solo founder, this is your baby. You basically like pulled this idea from the sky and you alchemize this into an incredible business that now, supports you. it's really hard to like not take this personally, isn't it? This is something I struggle with. And it's hard because it's like when you are personally dealing with people, it is sometimes feeling like that this has been a reflection on you. It's like, what could I have done better in this situation? How am I lacking in this situation? How is this easier for them? Why aren't they getting it? And what we can really pay attention to here is our thoughts and how we're talking about things. And quite often, what we'll see is it's like, even though we are a business and we are maybe dealing with customers or we're dealing with other businesses, like how quick we are to make this personal, right? I have had this all the time where I'm like, why have they left me on red? And I'm like, okay, hold on, this is a business conversation. Like the lead just has not got back to you. And my brain is like, why have they left me on red? Why is this happening? I'm like, okay, pause, Peter. Is this your personal life or is this your business right now? And what we can check ourselves on here is it's like, if we are aware of how we talk about our business and the thoughts that come up, it's going to be really interesting if you could actually get that down on paper and ask yourself, does this read like a journal entry about me kind of like talking about stuff in my personal life, or does this actually sound more like something business? And what you may really be surprised about is how personal we make everything. And this is really cool because you think about it, if we could kind of take ourselves out of the situation, remember that we are a business and we're dealing with other businesses, like, when remember that we are a business, it's like then we can't take anything personally because it's not us, right? It's our business. So just remove yourself from the situation a little bit, because I think that when you really like center yourself in the problem, this is where I think a lot of thoughts will come up around, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not this. Oh, if only I was better. And it's interesting how something very, very, very small, like if someone leaves you on red or they don't get back to you, how this small thing can feel like a real personal attack about ourselves. Isn't it interesting? The brain is interesting. So what we can all remember as well is that we are all going to have a different rule book. We are all going to have different standards. You have your own standards. People, even if they don't think that they have standards, will have standards. They may be very, very, very low, or they may be very poor, or like they may be whatever, right? We are all going to have our different rule book on how we live. And what we want to make sure is that we are not using the rule book on how we live our life and we expect other people to do that, okay? Because this is where we can get a little bit disappointed. What we can do in situations like this, there's so much. If you feel like that stuff is continually happening and you have a standard around this and you are like, it is really important that clients have this standard as well, or that people that come into my life have this standard as well, you can make that apparent. This is your business. You can run it how you like. With your clients, like if there are things that are happening when they start working with you, you can have an energetic agreement. You can have something that goes out in an automated email where it's like, this is what I expect from you and this is what you can expect from me. You can have things around when people book a discovery call where it's like, in this discovery call, we will do this, this, and this. Post this discovery call, I will send you options on what it would look like to work together. This is not a substitute for coaching. Coaching is a paid offer. And in this discovery call process, when I present you with some options, if it is something that is suited, incredible, we can get that going. But if it is something and it is just not ideal and you feel that we are not a fit, I would really love for you to communicate that with me so we can close the loop. Use whatever language you want. And you think about it, if you communicate that and if they can't do that, do you want them as a client, right? So if you're like, well, if they really can't do that, if I communicate that this is the standard and they're like, oh shit, this feels a bit scary, this is a bit edgy, but if I'm not up for that, I'm not going to do it. Do you want them as a client? So this is your business and you can communicate whatever you want. So hot stuff. Drop the expectations, stay in your power, and stop making things mean something about you. Stop making it personal. They are not you. And that is exactly why they want to work with you. Oh, I love this. I love you. I love you more than my snuggly little coat. I get so many compliments on this. Some people are, oh, I want to touch you. And if they're a sexy man, I'll be like, you can. Let's be honest. If you're a sexy woman, I'd be like, 100% rub me up, touch me. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I love you more than that. I love you more than, okay, I want to say, podcast listeners, thank you for telling me that you listen to the podcast. One thing that I think is really challenging with podcasting is you don't really get like a whole lot of data. I get my listens, but I don't know who listens. Like I actually have no idea who listens to anything. And sometimes that can be a bit like it's good in a way. I want to say this. It actually is good in a way because you feel like that you can kind of do things and you're not really sure like who's watching you, right? It's not like you put up a story and then you're like, oh my God, shit, they saw it. Like you actually have no idea. So I feel like that can just be like my unfiltered self. I am also loving you more than like how good the podcast is looking. Like this is my baby. I'm going to say like my business after doing my business. It takes a decent amount of time to do an episode. Like right now, this is about 19 minutes, 30. I'll chop it down. I'll probably remove about like 5 minutes of stuff where I was thinking, or maybe some little false starts at the start. I think it took me about like 20 minutes to set up my stuff, and then we have to let it download and then edit it. So it is a fairly lengthy process. Now, I want to say when I started this, it wasn't. I just chucked some shit into Zoom and I sat in my bed and I wasn't even recording video. Some of the episodes I did in the dark. And now obviously as I'm wanting to get better with repurposing my content, it's taking a little bit more time, okay? But I'm really happy with how everything looks. I will be honest, and I didn't even care to admit this, that I was looking at my YouTube videos. I was actually watching the podcast back. So I was watching the ones back that I shot in my hotel room. And I was just looking at them and I was like, oh my God, these look so good. And I only just went before and I got like a little coffee and I was telling my barista, he was like, how are you going with your goals? Because I told him that I wanted to make some changes. And he's like, how are you going? And I'm like, so good. He's like, how are you going with your YouTube? And I'm like, amazing. And he kind of gave me this look and I'm like, pause, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. And I got my phone out and I opened it up and I showed him. And his eyes kind of just like lit up. He's like, wow, yeah, this looks really good. And I'm like, thank you. It does, doesn't it? And he's like, you shot this yourself. And I'm like, I did. I shot this myself. And he was kind of looking at it. So this is really good. And it's so interesting that I think it's a really nice feeling that when you can kind of like pleasantly surprise yourself. And I really hope that you all get to experience that when you do something and you're like, holy shit, this looks really good. You know, I will regularly compare myself to people like Stephen Bartlett. Like old mate Stephen has like 40 people or something working on his podcast, like 40 full-time staff members. And I'm like, this is just me and my 5 different personalities. Like I think that we're doing pretty good. And I'm doing this around everything else. I'm doing this around my clients and around Give Good Email and around Business Bang and around everything. And I'm like, I'm proud of you. Oh my God, Peter, baby girl, I'm so proud of you. So I love you more than that. Oh, what else? Oh my God, I love you more than, oh my God, can you see that? Can you see this nail color? Pretty. So there was an episode of Mad Men, and I'm pretty sure it was like in season 1. And Betty Draper had this just like beautiful pink. And it was a little bit muted. And this is called Aphrodite. And it just looks expensive. I just love it. And I get compliments all the time. And then I love to say, these are my actual nails. These are my real nails. Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, they're my real nails. I get some hard gel put on top. And I just love it. I love it so much. Whenever I'm having a bad day and shit is just shitting itself, you know what I'll do? I look down at my nails, look down at my hands, and I'm like, life could be worse. Life could be so much worse. And I just love them. I think that we all need something for us. And I'm really conscious where I never like judge people for like what they spend or their choices. People love to kind of give me shit about what I pay. What do I pay? I pay $150 and I go once a month. But I'm there for like almost 2 hours, and Kylie's an artist and the place is clean and I just love it. So I love paying it. Like I get excited. I can't imagine going anywhere else. And I've said this to my nail tech. I'm like, you cannot leave me. You cannot leave me again. You cannot do this. I love my hands. Oh my God, they're beautiful. They're so beautiful. All right, hot stuff. Let's leave it there. Have the best day, the best week. Don't take shit personally, okay? I love you. Mwah.